So I'm coming to you live from a remote location because of tornado. I don't know if we're gonna give it a name. Tornado destruction. Yeah, so I'm broadcasting from South Fulton today. Snooze. Yeah. Man, let's see the picture. Yep, Antonio gonna say it didn't come through. Yeah, well, check the junk mail. Let me try sending this to him. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Never mind. I sent it to the wrong box for. Yeah, that one's not gonna work. Yep. A M D A D C D at Gmail.
It's extremely cold.
Mm. Yeah, it's cold outside.
No, is it?
Yeah, it's cold
It was supposed
outside,
to
but
snow. It was snowing just a little bit yesterday, just a tiny bit.
no. That. There it is. Let's see.
We'll be right back. We'll grab some meat real quick.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem, man.
I had to get some snacks.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting for Antonio to
Okay.
send me his email address so we can get him in. I received your message, period. It was in my spam folder, period. I sent you the link. Replied and sent. I is replied.
I'm in. I need to make sure this thing is working. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, for some reason, when I was sending this before, did I have the wrong address? Hold on, let me check and see.
Yo.
Antonio Diaz 0710.
You had
I
it
don't
right.
understand. I don't understand why it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no idea. But oh
But you,
well. It's I do know that when you sent that message that said test, it went straight to my spam folder for some reason.
okay. It's all good.
But I took it out of there. It's not in spam anymore, and I replied to you. So
Yeah, yeah. That's why.
yeah,
That's how I got the info. Let me, if you don't mind, fellas, let me try to brew a real quick cup of mojo. I need to get out of bed. I still got them covers on me. You know what I mean? Honey, it's cold outside.
yeah. And I'm not as bright today because I don't. My ring light is a big one. I started to stop along the way and get a smaller ring light so I would be brighter. But oh well, I got a lot of shadow going on. I think I know what will help.
This weather's crazy, yo. It's going to be 70 degrees on Wednesday, Friday, or Thursday, tornadoes. Friday, snow. Make up your mind, homie. I want to make sure. I think my mic is working. Yo, 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 yo. Yeah. You on mute, bro.
Tornadoes next Thursday.
Bro, this junk is crazy, son. I want to take a flight down to Miami this weekend.
Man, that would be fun.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my sister-in-law lives in West Palm Beach. And she just be this whole week, man. She's been taking selfies of her backyard with the sun out. She like, come on down. Like, golly, man. You might have to do it today. Jesus. We was thinking about going down to New Orleans this weekend.
Oh,
Then
man.
I just realized that Mardi Gras just started. So I'm like, I might have to wait after that smoke clear. That's a lot of explaining to do.
You ain't lying.
That's a lot of explaining to do. So we'll see.
I'll get this thing
Off centered a little bit. I think I'm off centered. Good. Mm-hmm. So Harvey, what's one of your 2023 goals, brother?
to get my what do you call that? My to get my residuals going again with selling insurance. I think this might be my last month. My residuals. I need keep me on board, like man.
Need that extra
Money helps. Yeah.
That little extra cheese, huh?
Man. Because if I would have done what I did 10 months ago, 10 times in a month, I would be making about 4,000 to 5,000 a month.
Wow.
Residual income without me doing it.
Yeah.
So man. So I'm gonna try to hit it hard. And that guy always got to keep in my head not to try to get into management where I'm at. I fought management and I didn't want to be a manager. I know the vice president wanted me to be a manager at one time.
Right.
First got hired, I didn't want to do it because it would cause me to fly all over the United States for this company.
Right.
And I didn't want to do it because I my daughter is about to graduate this year. I didn't want to miss out. I'll travel some here throughout Georgia, but I don't want to be 1 week in Tennessee, another week in Mississippi, another week.
Yeah. No, bro, that's a hard life. Is the oldest graduating this year? The oldest?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw her driving on Sunday.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah, man. I saw her jump in the car, man. I got out her way. I was like, uh-oh, let me run. She was doing good though. She was doing her thing.
Yes.
Yeah, my oldest she turns 15 in March, man.
Okay.
So I've been taking her to the parking lot, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So she does really good, man. It's my 11-year-old that scares the crap out of me, bro. Like she's like lead on a foot. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we in a parking lot when that's empty.
You
You know
gotta
what I
take it to
mean?
like the country. Big
Yeah,
on the
we in
country
a park,
road.
bro. We in a park like we're like in a Walmart parking lot. There's no cars, and and she still. I thought I was gonna die.
Oh man.
It was nothing there, bro. It was nothing there, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Stop!" She's like, and she's like gunned it, bro,
Oh man.
bro. And I'm like, then you know how they do. You get the yelling, and then she slams on the brake. We all go through the front, like we all in the window shield. It was. I was like, all right, let's put it in park. Okay, get out the driver's seat. It was interesting. So was
All
the
right. So I have some possible. Oh, change my name. So yeah.
because we gotta rename. Come on, Axel.
My bad. My bad. Let me get on it. I was trying to change the video. It doesn't say Zoom on there.
Oh, you have to pay to do that. You have a paid account.
Well, I think when I downloaded it, had the Zoom on there, right?
Yeah, don't. I wouldn't trip.
Is that
Yeah, I wouldn't trip.
okay? Cool. Shows we're on a Zoom video for a podcast. That okay?
I
Hopefully.
think so, right? I don't think they try. I don't think they trip on that.
I'm not,
No, wow, they can't. What can they do about it? Nothing. I can edit that out. It's called editing. Plus, I mean, the Zoom police, what are they gonna do? Be scrolling around looking for aha. They
Yeah, I
use our
don't think
phone.
that if I'm
Our
numb,
technology, they can't make money on that. I ain't concerned
well,
about that. It's called
well,
editing.
if I'm numb, I wouldn't mind that at all, right? Like, hey, you can hold your podcast on our platform. That's how good it is. That's to me. Now, do we have our topics today?
So I have some possible ones for us. There we go. No, I want daytime.
man, the other night,
Uh,
I'm glad we have like our video cameras all over the place, our security cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night, someone just parked in front of our house, casing us.
Mm,
He's just sat out there in front of us, in front of our house.
mm.
1:43 in the morning.
Wow,
I know, man. I'm like, my wife showed me the video, and I was like, man, this is crazy.
bro. Man, you listen, man. It's real in the field out here, man. I know that much. You can't take your foot off the brake, man.
Nope. That's why security cameras are so important, man.
Yeah, it really is.
but
The
yeah,
only thing I
so
got to get next is my doorbell camera. It's the next one.
Even though the police has access to everybody's well, at least the door cameras they got access to.
Okay.
well, I say good. That don't bother me.
Right.
I don't have anything to hide.
Well, I don't have any cameras on the inside of my house. They don't need to see me walk around my drawers.
I know that's right, bro. It's a sight to be seen, brother. It's a sight to be seen, brother.
See, I keep draws forever. They
You know?
become aerodynamic at one time, and they
So we
become
can
holy.
Stupid.
so we can go with something. I won't say serious, but I got a few. I got three that can be considered maybe a little more serious, or we can do something fun, or maybe we can do one of each, one episode or something a little more
Are we doing two
serious,
today?
and one of something fun. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just do it, go through. So the first one that I thought about for a fun one would be funny Facebook postings. I have a list of them, right? Like what you were just talking about. One of my schoolmates from high school, he puts stuff on there a lot. It makes me laugh. So one of them, he says is men will, let me find it. It's something to the tone of how men will are too cheap. I hear men are too cheap to buy underwear. They will wear them until he say, disintegrate. Stop it. You know, but let me find it because it was funny when he said it.
That's facts.
Like, what? But that's one possible one. Here we go. Hold on. Let's see. He's posted now. He said, excuse me, I don't know who needs to hear this, but can we please stop with the pajamas in public? Then y'all wearing the same ones to bed. Stop it.
That's true.
Right. My mother told us when we were kids, like, don't wear your outside clothes to bed. You got all that
man.
dirty,
Yo,
you got all that,
I had to
that
tell my
dirty air.
kid this. I had to tell my kid this yesterday.
Yeah. Now I understand in ancient times they only took showers like once a month or whatever. Or they didn't even have showers. They took baths once a month.
You're close to it. You got the atmosphere all over the
Right,
outside.
right.
That COVIDness.
About that.
COVIDness. Don't we bring COVIDness to the covers?
Right. But you know, we can do that, but that might take a little more. I probably should have prepared all of them in advance. And we could find another one. Man laws. I was thinking about our like 3 Mad Brothers man laws.
Man
everybody,
laws.
yeah, a whole lot of man laws.
Okay.
That could be one.
Yeah. If we air man laws, we may not have a job.
Hey, no,
like,
I think we gonna attract
cancel culture for real.
No, I think we'll attract a bigger audience for real.
Oh yeah, man law. I mean, there's certain things that real men can do that today's men, well, I don't know.
But see, that it's an opinion, right?
It's an opinion, though. It could be.
We
It
talk
could
about our
be.
opinions.
Well,
some men,
you don't drink your drink like this. You know what I'm saying? You know,
right? That's why they're the
you
three. They're the,
because Mike Ditka said don't do that, or Mike Ditka said
that's why they're the 3 Mad Brothers man laws,
he
because
said
somebody
don't drink
else
beer with the straw. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a man law. You know what I'm saying?
That's man law.
But that's what makes them our man laws versus another group, right? Because ours aren't for everybody. It's what we say. So that's what'll make it fun. It's our, you know, we can give people an insight into.
Well, a man law, you should know your gender. You know what I'm saying?
Or how about this? Instead of it could kind of be in conjunction with man law, but how about as far as in the year of 2023, what do we need to cut out?
That could be one too. That's a possible one. Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
well, or I tell, let's word it better. Some people said, what do we want to leave in 2022? Yeah. That's what somebody said on New Year's Eve. They said, what are some things you want to leave behind?
What are some things that we
gotta leave in 2022, or don't bring it in 2022?
Man, right. Listen, man. I mean, that's.
And then hold on, let me say these before, and then for the more serious, not too serious, but more serious ones, I have the feminization of the church, defying the negative stereotypes. Those are 2, or defying the stereotypes. You can shorten it up, but because here's some stereotypes, right? Like we talk about the 3 of us and how some of those stereotypes don't fit us. We defy them. For example, men, I don't know, birch, men burp and fart in public and digging their nose and wipe it on their shirts. I said burp, belch, whatever it is, right? Fart and burp in public.
I didn't know if you said birched.
Yeah, I know I said that initially.
Okay.
But
Okay.
some of those stereotypes, right? Or stereotype if you come from where Antonio and I come from, you end up, committing crime, or you end up in jail, you end up in prison, right? We can make it funny, or we can make it serious, or we can mix it, right? Because there are some stereotypes that have some truth to them, but however, there's some stereotypes that, whether we defy them or not, they're funny. Some of them, they're not that serious. And then even about your ethnicity, right? Like I said, for example, a man, the stereotype about the man who digs in his butt in public, I don't do that in public. I'll do it in private if I need to, but I don't do it in public, right? Or or the one of, every man cheats on his wife. I don't cheat on my wife. I don't think the two of you brothers cheat on your wife, right? All men don't cheat on their wife, right? Or all of
Right.
us eat fried chicken. I don't eat fried chicken, period.
Yeah, I
No,
don't know about that, brother.
but I'm saying, but I mean, we could think of some, right? That's a
You will,
minor one.
you will find fried
Yeah.
chicken and watermelon in my house.
Yeah. You know what they call fried chicken? Black man steak. No, that's pork. That's pork chop.
You will find watermelon in the crib.
Hey, we apply fried chicken and my other side some rice.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, so all right. So we definitely have enough, materials. Let's try to narrow it down to at least 2, so that way we can run through one, and then
Sure.
because I definitely want to make sure we get 2 in, because then
Sure.
we got enough to now circle back, edit, and start dropping some stuff.
Sure. So I think we can go with, because I'm looking right now, I'm looking at a list of stereotypes, and we can we could talk about 3 or even 2, but just say 3 to keep it short, because we don't want to have long comments like for example, I'll say, here's one. This is Australia website. I'm just doing this for sake of time, but
What about a stereotypical preacher? You know what I mean?
yeah, see, I kind of want. So here's the reason why I want to stay away from stuff like that, man. My wife and I were talking, I think this past week, right, about it's unfortunate that some of the negative views about the church, some of them have some truth to it, but it's like, why does the church, if we're proclaiming the truth, right, but we're taking a black eye from the outside, but you don't see Islam or Judaism with some of the same stereotypes, right? They don't have as many negative stereotypes, but we do. And again, some of them have truth to them, right? But to me, it's just, I get a little, I don't know how to say it, I get a little perturbed, man. Like, dude, it just, to me, it's like almost like a black eye, man. Like, dog, even if we say, well, that's not my congregation, that's true. But when I say the church, I mean the universal church all over, those who claim to be believers and so on and so forth. Why does some of those things, just like the yelling and hooping and hollering, like you talking about the preacher, we know that not all the preachers do that, right? But to me, it fuels. I don't want somebody to come to this podcast and get fuel like, yeah, that's what I think about you Christians. But it's like, hey, the 3 of us, we would be considered Christians, right? And that's not true. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. I mean, maybe
but it's a good dialogue. Like, then we could tell them what truth is. It's not about the hooping and hollering and all those things.
Okay, that's true. That is another. That's
You know,
another way to
because
look
it's
at
a
it.
different spin. It's whatever attracts somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Straight out of Compton, they said all publicity is
Good publicity.
good publicity.
Yeah, but that's
If you spin it the right way.
You gonna compare yourself to NWA? Come on, man.
Oh yes, he will.
You really gonna do that one?
Oh yes. Oh
It's
yes,
gonna be
he
a
will.
it's gonna be a heavy.
No, I'm gonna call
yes,
it HNWA.
Oh, he is the lost member of NWA.
I'm a half with attitude.
He was too radical. They kicked him out the group.
I was the most proper rapper.
Yeah, he was too rough. He was too rough for Eazy-E.
The boys in the hood are
nah,
always
bro.
hard.
You too hard for us, bro.
You talk that trash, I will pull your card.
So as far as stereotype, we want to talk about the church.
No, I think he wants to stay away from that.
Oh, he wants to stay away from that.
Yeah, I want to do male stereotypes since this is a show we want to aim at
Male,
men,
just
right?
male, like male
Yeah,
stereotypes.
right. I mean, because we could do women, but then that's a whole
No, no,
nother
no, 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 no.
bash and right. It become
No, no, no,
exactly.
no,
So I
no, no,
really
no, no,
don't
no, no,
want
no,
to.
no,
I don't
no.
want to do
No,
that.
no, no, no,
So
no, no. Stay away from the women, bro.
Yeah.
I
so I
don't
would
need my
rather
wife
just.
pulling me to the back room.
There is enough about the men, man. I'm looking for.
Well,
Okay,
because
so
I went to like Old Navy, look for some clothes or another place, and then they have mama's jeans in there. I was like, what? They got mama's jeans inside of them. Like, then they got dad's jeans on the other side. I was like, this is all messed up.
wait a minute. What did the dad's jeans look like?
What jeans you got on, Deshaun?
Yeah, sure.
Those are the dad jeans.
So okay, you know what that is? We're gonna have to have an episode of is this real?
Is it real?
Because I am looking, man. Hold on.
Hey, let's just do an episode of this real. Is this real?
We
Whatever
could.
yeah.
There it
But
is.
yeah, I mean, well, listen, man. All right, so how about okay. I don't want to muddy the waters, but just as far as two topics, like this week I've had conversations around. Number one was living in a different country, where I would like to live, the reasons. And then number two, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Tylenol has just got sued because it's been linked to causing autism in kids. So I've been talking about that. So, I don't know, they kind of around the whole, it's kind of like around what's accepted in America, compared to other countries type of thing, which, we've talked about a little bit, but yeah, so that's just, some more, topics, but as far as stereotypes, we want to talk about men's stereotypes, or I just want to make
Yeah.
sure we stay in our pocket.
Yeah. And then so I'm looking up now funny male stereotypes so we can keep it light, right? We can just keep it light. I mean, we could
It's
always
cool.
get serious. I don't think that's too difficult for us. But
Do we want to do something also about MLK?
Uh,
well, we could, but I'm gonna make a humor. I'm gonna put some humor in it. So I don't know. Again, I'm gonna come from that perspective of
ooh.
almost people gonna
I
say,
don't know
oh,
you
that's
want to do that.
they gonna say that's sacrilegious, but I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
no, you can't be in it.
No, because
there's some things out there about Dr. King. He did some great things, but when it
Oh,
comes to
that.
him and the
Ooh.
women, oh
Oh man,
boy,
hold on, bro. Hold on,
I'm
bro.
just telling you.
hey,
I'm
everybody
just
got some Reverend Do wrong in them. You know what I'm saying?
Reverend Do
do
wrong.
said do said that. All right, yeah,
Reverend
I
Do
mean,
wrong.
think about it. I mean, hey,
Come on, but hey, but listen, man, we can't be, you know, we can't be talking about how he was blowing the backs out on Martin Luther King Day, man. But come on,
now
man.
you got explicit right there. Oh my goodness, man. I'm gonna say what a brother would say years ago. He'd be like, "Man, where's your mind at? Where's your mind?"
well, you don't like that we celebrate MLK Day?
So folks can get a
Hmm?
day off. So folks can get a day off.
Well, we got two black holidays now.
We got what?
Two black
Two black,
holidays.
two black holidays?
Yeah.
Oh, because you got the Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Got that one. Yeah, I mean,
MLK.
I don't know. We stay away from them. Okay.
I agree. So
Okay. All right.
all those who want to
Because I
do it,
brought
take
it
a
up.
vote.
I brought it up because we're having a church
That
service.
ain't go turn out good.
It could become very controversial. And
We gonna get there
even
quick.
though somebody said,
Well, but
"Oh,
we don't have to talk about MLK him
Okay.
as a person, but what is done. I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't have to go
What
to a
the,
colored bathroom anymore. I like that. I never did, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
yeah,
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
you know,
Yeah.
because I'm what I mean is that if we go to the person, we've all sinned. I mean,
Well, you
think
know
about
what? Well, here's the other perspective I can come from as being a historian, man, that there were some things about Dr. King that are not very popular that people didn't know in a good way. Like, for example, the ways that he brought down um him and the people that were stood with him, marched with him. They lights flickering here. Oh boy. They knocked down walls, right? Like in the beginning, they actually voted to have Dr. King be the spokesperson. It wasn't like he didn't ask for it.
Right.
He didn't say, "Hey, I want to lead this movement." No, the
Mm-hmm.
the Southern Christian Leadership Conference had a meeting, right? Series of meetings, and they said, "Well, why don't Doctor?" Well, they were like, "Martin, why don't you do it?" And he was like, because he was young. He was one of the youngest ones in the group. And so there was a discussion about it. And I don't know if this is true, so maybe I shouldn't say that part about maybe he didn't want to initially do it, but he was chosen to do it, right? They had lots of people leading, but he was chosen. I don't even think he was 30 yet. I think he was in his late 20s, like 29 years old. So here you got a 29-year-old man. Think about the weight put on him at that age. But he said, okay, if the need is there, I'll do it. So that could be one of the things that we could talk
No,
about and
yeah.
share
do
about.
you think race relations got a little bit better?
Well, I look at it even different than just the race relations. I look at it as a human issue, right? So you had a group of people who were not considered equal legally to other folk. That was really I look at it like we're a group of people, man,
Right.
that were
That
not
was
considered equal
not
as
less than
human beings,
human.
as
Right.
people legally.
Right.
We could say, hey, I know, like even today, I know who I am. So I don't need the government or anybody else to validate me, right? But if the law tells me I can't go to this bathroom, I can't drink out of this water fountain, I can't work this job, I can't live here. Now that's a
Yeah,
whole nother
different.
problem,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Because you
different.
telling me legally and you want to arrest me and put me in jail and prison. Come on. So that's why I look at it from that perspective of a human issue
Okay.
more than
Right.
just
I mean that's good then, right? Because
Yeah.
his purpose, not the person, but his what he had done helped out.
Oh, it's tremendous. Now, so guys, let's do this. Let's kick off with our intro,
Sure.
right? And then let's talk through this. I think this is a good topic. Of course,
But our next one's gonna have to be lighthearted then. So
We gotta do
yeah. The next one we'll make it funny.
I think it's just okay. Go ahead, let's do it. So all right, I'm gonna start with my hand because I don't have my clapboard. I left it at home. So no, because our power is still out. So I'm at one of my sister's house.
Okay.
All right. Help me with my editing.
Mm-hmm.
Hello and thank you for joining Three Mad Brothers. I am Miko Me.
Axel
Diaz.
And this is season 1, episode 5. So today we are discussing Dr. Martin Luther King and just with a different perspective on the impact that he and the civil rights movement had. And we're just going to jump right into it. So I actually was sharing in our pre-production meeting how it was I look at it as a human rights movement. Yeah, people call it civil rights. That's fine. And I understand that. But I look at it, it was a human's rights because even the word race itself was something created by people in the 1800s. Does it really exist? We could talk about it, but that would be a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But what I said I wanted to do in this episode was to just at least talk about one or two things that about Dr. King and those who stood with him that are not widely known, things that are not as popular. And like Diaz was saying, and the impact that it has on us today, how things have changed because of that.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of things that are said every year. They kind of get rehashed over and over and over, right? But then there are some things that are not widely known, but have made a strong impact. So I don't know if one of you all want to start off or you want me to start off. You let me know.
Yeah. I think for me, man, I'm gonna just share for me the biggest impact that, I guess look at when I look at Dr. Martin Luther King. And I think it's an aspect that, a lot of folks kind of overlook. What I really focus on with him, man, is I look at the fact that, right, this was a family man. Um, and so taking on a role that he, took on during this time, right? We all know, as events played out, it was definitely dangerous. But this was something that involved his family, right? Like put his family in harm's way. And then I look at, the fact that he was a father, right? And this, you looking at it now where, what he did, the impact that he had, it automatically kind of like threw his kids into it. You know what I mean? To where now here in Atlanta, everybody's, up in the age, but whenever something major happens, somebody speaking to one of his kids, right? One of his kids is involved. So I just, my biggest, thing is with him is just that, man, him taking on a role that he did, and just how it impacted his family for good and bad. I think, as me, being a father, right, being a husband, I'm always thinking about, no matter whether in career or, personal, things, I'm always thinking about the impact that my decisions can have on my wife or have on my kids. Because I'm pretty sure it's something that he thought about in taking on the role, but man, it put his wife in danger, put his kids in danger. But he was focused on, the greater cause. There was a bigger issue that was important, and but just to make that decision of, yeah, I'm going to be this leader. And even though I know it's going to put my wife and my kids in harm, there's a bigger cause. So that's one of the things that always jump out to me about him is that, man, it just wasn't him in the forefront, man. We know about it's his house being firebombed and threats on his life and things like that. But
right.
So yeah, that's for me the biggest thing that jumps out to me about MLK.
Yeah, I think that if we didn't have this holiday, it's easy just to brush it under the rug.
Yeah.
I think that with the reminder, right, it just, and it doesn't always let the other race understand what we went through, but it's also understanding of us reminding ourselves what our forefathers went through. Because some of these things was happening way before Martin was even in the world, you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
So there's a lot of progression, in that. But there was other races that helped out the cause as well. It wasn't just the African American race. It was, there was the Caucasian race, if that's the proper way of saying, your other brothers, right? That helped out as well, because it kind of reminded me of this story called the William Tell story. When I saw this was a white gentleman that lived in the South, that was helping, the slaves to head up north, right? When I saw that, I was like, man, not all people, even in the South, believed in the slavery. You know what I mean?
Right.
They happened to be here, and their, and their family members were down here. But you can see that there's good in many people, right?
Right.
Even though the majority kind of stereotypes what the lesser amount of people might believe in, right? They might believe in the opposite of what the majority believes in. We're Christians. We don't believe what the world believes. The world is more than who we are, right?
Right.
As people, but we believe differently, right? And so I just look at it that, there was people of other, races and cultures that wanted to see some equality as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, and Martin, which his real name was Michael. His real name was Michael, and his dad was Michael
Changed
Sr.
it.
Yeah, when he went to Germany, you know. So
Mm.
Martin Luther was cool. So,
Mm.
he changed his name over there, and he didn't change his name when his son's name as well, which is
Okay.
Martin. So
I didn't know
Mm.
that.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a fun fact. But I just look at it, it's just a good reminder. Coming from the Pacific Northwest, because my dad was in the military, so we were in Miami and then Washington State, and then came to Atlanta, Georgia. I remember going to the Martin Luther King Center, and seeing some actual footage of what African Americans went through around that time.
Yeah.
You don't see that on the West Coast. You see that here, but you don't see the magnitude of what actually happened. So you don't appreciate when you don't see it live, you don't talk about it, you don't appreciate it as much. You know what I mean? Because it's like outside of the mind. But when you see it, you appreciate it, So,
Right.
and that's my thing, I just want to appreciate what has happened and not take for granted the things that, the liberties that we do have nowadays.
Mm.
Yeah. So my perspective, I guess what I'm going to say is, we talked about, I look at it as this. First of all, Dr. King was chosen to lead this movement, right? Without getting into a lot of the history, there were lots of groups of individuals who rallied together. And I sum up and they said, hey, it is high time for us to knock down the door of the laws, the legal system, right? That has separated people and told a group of people of African descent that you are not equal as human beings. You can't drink over here. You can't sit over there. You can't live over here. You can't buy this house. You won't work this job. And it was a long list of things, right? And what they were saying is, you can't do these things legally. We will arrest you. We will put you in prison. And at time, we will kill you. And we'll be justified, And so I looked at it, it's a human issue more than just a issue of race, quote unquote race, because I think race is a created word, right? 1800s, some sociologists and anthropologists had a conference and they came up with the term. Well, really, they came up with the term to be divisive, maybe even if that wasn't their outright intention, because when you look at people, right, that's why you had the word or the term human race. So human race, right? But you see, like both of you have said, all types of people came together for this thing. It wasn't just
Absolutely.
brown people, or it wasn't
Absolutely.
even just Caucasian people, because later on, after Dr. King and that Southern Christian Leadership Conference and all these groups rallied together, then you also had some other groups, right? Like the Black Panthers. They had the Gray Panthers, they had White Panthers, you had Hispanic groups. They speared this whole thing. And again, it was more those enough is enough, right?
Right.
It's like enough is enough, man. We pay our taxes, just like everyone else, right? We work to keep our streets clean like everyone else.
Right.
We educate, we get educated, we educate our kids just like other people, and we're not asking to be validated by you. We're saying legally, we want what's ours. We pay our taxes. We live in this country. We want full citizenship. We should be able to live. Now, if we can't afford to buy something, or if we are not, qualified for a job, or if, we damage something, there should be repercussions for that. But other than that, not just because I was born by certain parents should I be treated that way. And that, so when I talk with the younger people today, I come from that perspective versus just saying race, because the question was asked by one of you before we started the episode: how far have relations come between different groups of people since the 60s? And there's been, when I say progress, somebody watching this is going to say, oh, they'll point out all these things that happen, shootings and beatings. But when we say relations, we're just talking about the relationships between people, right? And, this should be on, all of us are in our 40s or whatever. I don't want to give up. Some people in this room may not want us to give their age. So but let's just say the
I
three
got
of
an
us
AARP membership thing in the mail.
I'm
here
21.
it is.
I'm 21 for the 21st
He said
time.
it's not me. I didn't want to say it, but
I wanted to send him back the little scooter letter. Like, I don't need a scooter, man. Come on.
I'm 21, player.
Yeah, 21
That's
plus
so wrong.
you better double that and add some years.
21 plus 21 plus 21.
Yeah. But
Oh
when you look
man.
at I was a school teacher and I looked at the younger generation, right? I mean, you talking about the people in their teenage years, early 20s. A lot of them, when they went to school with people of different ethnicities, that wasn't a big deal to them, right? They didn't, a lot of them I see, they didn't make a big deal about it. If they enjoy spending time with each other, they just did it. They didn't talk about stuff like race that much. They just spend time together. They eat lunch together, right? They play on the football team. They go to one another's homes, and dating the whole nine. And there was a lot more of that. There's a lot more of that right today than it was 50 years ago, right? 30 years ago, even. So that's what I mean by I see how relations have improved. Now, have some conditions not improved for certain people? Sure. But that's a whole nother episode. We just wanted to talk about, Dr.
Yeah,
King.
as far
So I
as
think,
yeah,
yeah, and I see that, like you said, Diaz, he sacrificed. He really didn't. Again, it wasn't just him, but being the face, right? The fourth person, that
right,
leader,
right,
that man, it made him a target. He put a target on his back.
right.
And the last thing I say, my little time, is that one thing that this is a theory of mine. I believe he was killed. When he was killed, it was very specific. He started to talk about economic opportunities.
Right.
He wasn't just
Yes,
talking
he
about
did.
laws anymore. See, you a
Towards the
business
end.
person,
Yeah.
Diaz.
He
Yeah,
was
he
talking.
started because he went up to Chicago and helped organize the sanitation workers strike. And he told
Right.
them, hey, you got some, this is about getting your wages. So it became about money at that point. And then when he came, one of his last speeches, he talked about how there's some corporations in America that are not treating people right. And if they don't, we need to boycott them. So again, that's financial. And I believe that these business leaders said, oh, wait a minute now. This dude we see what happened in Montgomery with that bus boycott. That cost them a lot of money.
A lot of money.
He mentioned some corporations by name like Coca-Cola and IBM and Xerox.
Yeah.
So I think they said enough is enough. That's
Yeah,
just my theory.
no, you're right. During his last couple of speeches, he was just talking about, like reparations. Like, you owe the blacks deserve some money. Which, and I don't know if you guys been aware, but it's been a push coming out of California, as far as a bill talking about reparations.
I'm going out there to get my half a acre and half
Yes,
a mule.
it's a bill
Hey,
out there,
I'm half,
hey,
brother.
in California, it's going to be a tenth of an acre. You know how expensive
Yeah,
that
baby,
property
but
is.
but and now here's my question, because I've heard this through the years, and I definitely want to kind of throw it out there, right? In recent years, right, with everything going on, I've heard the question of, where's our leaders at today? How come we don't, there's no leader?
You mean leader like an African American leader?
Yeah,
African
for a
American
group of
leader,
people. For a group of people.
like our Martin Luther King, right? I've heard that through the, in recent years. Where's our leader at? And my question is, if there was one, right? One of the things that Martin Luther King was great at was bringing people together, right? To march, to boycott.
Yeah, like an
Right.
ambassadorship.
So if there was a leader and he's calling for us to boycott this, to march here, do we show up? Right. Do we show up?
Yeah.
Do we fall in line? I question whether we would do that or not.
That's a good question, because the Bible still says avoid all extremes. Don't be extremely righteous, don't be extremely wicked, right? You kind of stay in the middle, so you stay grounded, you know what I mean? So you observe what's going on. It's kind of hard. It's like, as a Christian, what would you do? Because we understand that some things are from the world.
Right. Some things are for them to battle about. Yeah.
Right. Which battle I'm going to be part of? Winning souls to Jesus, or or some things in society. I think sometimes they're synonymous, but I think sometimes they can take our focus away too.
No, I think that's definitely, and I think it's a good point, because let's just lay it out, for what it was back then, right? Let's say it plays out now, right? So I'm just saying, this major corporation says, if you Hispanic and you Black, you can't shop, you can't do business in my stores, right? Do I say, well, that's a worldly matter. I'm not gonna get it, I'll just shop over here. If that's the way they want to do it, fine. Or, right, like, to me, I'm like, but that's not right. You know what I mean? And so that's unjust.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, right, that matters. Right. But that's a fine line, right? Like, so let's talk about the, let's say if there's a store that says that,
Mm-hmm.
as a Christian, should we get involved with that, or not?
So here, okay.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Miko.
Yeah, so I'm coming from the financial again. Here is where personally Miko wants to get more involved, right? Or I look at, we talked about two things, leadership and getting involved. So one of the biggest things that affects our brown people, I'm just gonna say it, is
Yeah.
financial inequality today. Financial.
Right.
And I'm past blaming anybody for it. I'm talking about solutions today, right? So
Right.
being able to, you work in finance, Diaz, and actually you both work in finance. So I'm wanting to see brown people have more buying power. I want to see brown people invest more. I want to see brown people have more land ownership and own resources, right? Natural resources. I want us to have more access and own, mineral rights, water rights, so on and so forth. Wealth. Why does that matter? Because then if a man won't let me in his store, we can come together, start our own store. And I don't mean start our own where nobody else can shop, but I'm just saying literally, if Diaz says Diaz is going to start, him and his family going to start a store. They should be, I'm not saying it's easy to do. What I'm saying though is, if you don't have even we got a mind where if I want to bring together 5 to 10 people, my family, my neighborhood, or my friends, and say, hey, let's do it. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't have a mind. We don't trust each other. Oh, I don't know how much it's going to cost, man. I don't know if I trust Diaz with my money, right? I don't know, because we've been trained, unfortunately, over generations, right? So I'm saying, I want a good leadership, or I want to become that type of leader that can show people how to do it and help people to do it, right? Because if you have your own and you have your own ownership, that kind of stuff affects you a little bit less, right? Because if Walmart tells me I can't come in there,
Right.
I say, fine. My money, like the example, if you all remember when Oprah Winfrey went over to Europe and was denied access to a store, or they wouldn't let her buy a bag. They treated her funny, right? If you remember that. And she could have bought the store, right? She literally had the money to buy this store. But she talked about it. She said, yeah, it affected her. But guess what? She wasn't out starting no rallies and protests or what do you call it, boycotts. Because, man, she said, I can go buy me bag. I go somewhere else. Now, so I'm not saying it was right for them to treat her that way, but she has a more fruitful and better life, right? So I believe it probably impacts her a lot less. So I'm wanting to see people use their platforms, especially brown people, use their platforms to teach. I mean, a lot of it's being done. You can watch YouTube videos, but I want us to teach, and actually, especially in the schools at a young age, because that's when you can form that mind to think better about, you don't just have to be an employee. You don't just have to, I'll leave it at that, because I do have another thing I want to add, but my
look at
time
it
is
this
up.
way, a different perspective. Let's say you shared the Bible with the owner of the company, and it changes perspective, changes his life, then his whole store changes. You see, now it's like, oh, okay, he has the understanding that it's not about these people are my brothers and sisters. Don't misconstrue it as if I'm a cake maker, I gotta make a cake for the LV, the alphabet community, then that's like going against my beliefs. That's different, right? One is belief, one would be race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is if you change, because Jesus could have been king by force, right? You were trying to force him to be king. He's like, no, that's not his purpose, right? He's not here to restore rights from man to man. He was restoring rights from, man to God. You know what I mean? He was repairing those rights. He wasn't here to go fight Caesar. He was fighting Caesar in a different way. You know what I mean? Changing people's minds and their hearts to look at things from a different perspective. So then, do we want a leader to change how this person runs a store, or do we want someone to change this guy's heart for God?
Well, let me take it a step further. Right? How about this mindset? As a Christian, my number one mindset is making it to heaven. I don't care what the store says. I don't care about ownership, owning land. I don't care about none of that. I'm just trying to get my family to heaven. And that's the only thing I worry about. Is that right? Is that, you know what I'm saying? Should I be concerned with what's going on, in the world?
Well, so
I think so. I think you should be concerned.
Well, so examples, right? So we talk about examples. I shared this with many people. It says that I believe in 1 John that if we are claiming to follow this Messiah, the Messiah, right, then we should live as he did, walk in his steps. Yes. So one of the things that he did was he did give people freedom, right? He gave them freedom. How though? First of all, he told them, he said, I came to bring freedom. I came to set the captives free, right? Like you say, but freedom from what? Freedom from, we can use the word sin. However, for people, especially today, it's a word used so much, many people don't really truly understand what it means, right? So I'll use a different word today because he used parables for the people in that century. I use it today. He wants to set us free from our own thoughts that lead to our own actions that entrap us, enslave us, damage us, destroy us, really, right? So, for example, I can give 3 examples of things he told people he wanted them to stop doing. He said, hate. I want you to stop hating your neighbors, right? I want you to stop hating people who wrong you. I want you to excuse them. We use the word forgive, but again, I want to use the word say, I want you to excuse them for what they have done, right? Because we all 3 know that hate can consume you, man. From a practical perspective, you hate someone. I hated my father for many years because he was absent. And I got to a point where I thought I was indifferent, and I just kind of said, forget it. I don't care if I talk to him. But really, in essence, what I did was I let that hatred, it consumed a part of me, because here I was avoiding somebody in my life who really, he's first of all related to me. I could see him at family events. So I started avoiding those family events. Why am I doing that, right? Why am I avoiding being with my relatives because of my own strong emotion towards my own father, right? So when I was challenged by some brothers in the faith to forgive him, we had already looked at in the scriptures what forgiveness is and why it's important from the perspective of the Most High, the Creator, right? So it made it easier for me to think about it differently, right? Like, wow, but this is what the Messiah was teaching us to do. He said, then not only forgive them, I made a decision to forgive. He said, now you embrace them. He says, in his words, he says, turn the cheek, right? He said, give them your cloak. He says, give them something to eat, something to drink. But what people don't understand today is how to apply it today, right? And they think, oh, so you mean I got to let people beat me up, take my stuff? No, he's saying now that you should embrace them. You should invite them, right? Like Axel said, you should share the good news with them. Because if you hate somebody, you're not going to want to go and tell them about the Messiah. Let's be honest. Are you going to want to do that? No, you hate them. Forget him. And then really what you're saying is let them go to hell or let somebody else do it. No, but the Messiah said, no, Miko. That's somebody I want you to go up to that man. But hey, he mistreated my family. But hey, he mistreated my mother. Hey, he mistreated me. That man did A, B, and C. But he's saying, okay, I want you to excuse him. I still want you to excuse him because guess what? Just like you, he needs me. So.
Well, I believe that we're not gonna be able to reach everybody, but little seeds that we plant and little seeds that we water, right? I think, and God causes to grow at times that we don't see because between that person and God. I think we just do our purpose, and it goes back to what the topic is. It's just a reminder of where we came from, and to keep striving to go forward. And I know that Jesus didn't dwell with issues of this world. Being kingdom focused is being kingdom focused in heaven. So whatever I'm doing here is the kingdom within you. You're always thinking about, okay, hey, is this pleasing to God? The things that I do, am I thinking about God? Am I thinking about, godly things? That's kingdom focused wherever God is at,
Yeah.
Whether, it's here gathered as a church together or, anywhere else, am I kingdom focused? So this is just a reminder, of where we came from, and we still got work to go. You know what I mean? A lot of things to strive for, but I enjoy this time. I enjoy, being able to relate to other people as well, and we still got a long way to go, in this world, but this is impactful that it impacted me in my life, where I can live, where I can eat, things like that. And, just appreciate the people before me, that paved this way. It's kind of like, how these athletes now get paid all this money, right? But the athletes before didn't get paid all this money. And they did the hard work to build up the NBA, to build up the NFL, and all that.
And free agency. And free agency opened the door.
I saw Joe Namath, he had a $400,000 contract. That was big time back in those days, right?
Right.
The biggest contract that anyone ever gotten. If you got a $400,000 contract today, like, oh,
that's minimum wage,
right?
Hey, look at the
minimum wage.
The NIL in college for these colleges, because the NIL that's tremendous.
Right, but you see how many players today probably won't appreciate
what somebody did before them. Yeah, they paved the way.
Exactly, and that's what this is about.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. My final word on it is the man himself. I hope that people take at least some time that day and to remember that, hey, he somebody and a group of people, but specifically somebody, they risked their life, they risked their reputation. He risked a lot to open doors for people, right? To be able to have some freedoms legally that they didn't have, prior to 1965 when they signed that bill. They literally signed a bill. I think it was 65 or was it 68? I may be off. I should know better. Shame on me, but I don't remember the exact years, either 65 or 68, that they signed a bill. And then they signed a series of bills, right? The voter rights bill, and there were some other ones. But these were legal acts that made it a federal law to discriminate against people, based on color or based on other things. So, but that probably wouldn't have happened then had it not been for somebody, again, sacrificing, right? Their flesh, their flesh getting beat up, water hoses sprayed on them, dogs sicked on them, rocks thrown at them. These are things that Dr. King and his people, they went through literally. So I just hope we take a few moments to remember that or think about that and just say thank you, just to be grateful.
All right. So
do you have any final thoughts?
No, man, I think this was definitely some good stuff. We touched on a little things, but just different perspectives, please, for our listeners, take what we, are saying, right. And, think about it. Think about how you feel, right? Think about what we're saying. This might be an opportunity to kind of change how you're looking at things. So I think it was definitely a great topic, different perspectives. And we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. So just to wrap up episode number 5, again, we're the 3 Mad Brothers. We got, Miko, me, we got Axel and Mr. Diaz here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Please make sure that you like and subscribe below or to the side.
And remember that we're sponsored by Fade Media.
Yes.
One small announcement. Fade Media is gonna have some more stuff coming up. That's why we keep saying it. Some other production. So be watching out for Fade Media. We're gonna have some things out there. So.
Got some
All
stuff.
right.
Some
Got some stuff coming.
Yep.
And then remember,
And I gotta
shooting.
get my fade. It's just too my hair getting too long.
So I sign out with this. Keep shooting
I
until you
can't
make
wear a
it,
hat, right?
and be looking for our next episode. Again, like last time, I told you I wasn't gonna tell you what it was about. Maybe should I give him a preview? It's
No,
gonna be a
not yet.
funny one. But I tell
No,
him it's gonna be a funny one, a more lighthearted
The
one.
next
So
episode.
we hope it is. It's definitely gonna be lighthearted though. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.